Hi guys, it's Cheryl. Hope you're good. Sorry I missed a couple of days this week. I'm just preparing for a big show at the moment and got a little bit bogged down. In the midst of it all, whilst I prepare for this Christmas show, I've come across this story that I'm going to read you today. It's a little bit early for Christmas, but this story is a year-round story that you can appreciate any time of the year. It's called The Story of the Christmas Guest. It's taken from an old German legend and it's adapted by Helen Steiner Rice. It happened one day at the year's white end. Two neighbours called on an old-time friend. They found his shop so meagre and mean, made bright with 1,000 boughs of green. And Conrad was sitting with a face a shine, when he suddenly stopped as he stitched a twine, and said, "Old friends, at dawn today, when the cock was crowing the night away, the Lord appeared in a dream to me, and said, 'I'm coming, your guest to be.' So I've been busy with feet astir, strewing my shop with branches of fir. The table is spread and the kettle is shined, and over the rafters the holly is twined. And now I will wait for my Lord to appear, and listen closely so I will hear his step as he nears my humble place, as I open the door and I'll look for his face." So his friends went home and left Conrad alone, for this was the happiest day he had known. For long since his family had passed away, and Conrad had spent such a sad Christmas day. But he knew with his Lord as his Christmas guest, this Christmas would be the dearest and best. He listened with only joy in his heart, and with every sound he would rise with a start, and look for the Lord to be standing there in answer to his earnest prayer. So he ran to the window after hearing a sound, but all that he saw on the snow-covered ground was a shabby beggar whose shoes were torn, and all of his clothes were ragged and worn. So Conrad was touched and went to the door, and he said, "Your feet must be frozen and sore. I have some shoes in my shop for you, and that coat will keep you warmer too." So with a grateful heart the man went away. But as Conrad noticed the time of day, he wondered what made his dear Lord so late, and how much longer he'd have to wait. When he heard a knock, he ran to the door, but it was only a stranger once more. A bent all crone with a shawl of black, a bundle of branches piled on her back. She asked for only a place to rest, a place that was reserved for Conrad's great guest. But her voice seemed to plead, "Don't send me away, let me rest for a while on this Christmas day." So Conrad brewed her a steaming cup, and told her to sit at the table and sup. But after she left, he was filled with dismay, for he saw that the hours were passing away. The Lord had not come as he said he would, and Conrad felt sure he had misunderstood. Out of the stillness, he heard a cry. "Please help me and tell me where I am." He stood disappointed as twice before, but shook off his sadness and went to the door. It was only a child who had wandered away and was lost from her family on this Christmas day. Again, Conrad's heart was heavy and sad, but he knew he should make this little girl glad. So he called her in and wiped her tears and quieted all her childish fears. Then he led her back home once more, and as he entered his darkened door, he knew that the Lord was not coming today, for the hours of Christmas had passed away. So he went to his room and knelt down to pray, and he said, "Dear Lord, why did you delay? What kept you from coming to call on me? For I wanted so much your face to see." When soft in the silence, a voice he heard, "Lift up your head, for I have kept my word. 3 times my shadow crossed your floor, 3 times I came to your lonely door. For I was a beggar with bruised cold feet, I was a woman you gave something to eat, I was a child on the homeless street. 3 times I knocked, 3 times I was let in, 3 times I found the warmth of a friend. Of all the gifts, love is the best. I was honoured to be your Christmas guest." Isn't that a lovely story? Matthew 25, verse 34, Jesus is talking about the parable of the sheep and the goats, and he says, "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was ill and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you ill or in prison and go to visit you? Verse 40 says, the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of these, the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.